What's up? What's happening, folks? Welcome back to the channel, Sports, Life, and Politics TV. And today, we're going to be going over this Tulsa shooting where a gunman walked into a hospital, killing a doctor and killing 3 others before eventually killing himself. I've been going over these mass shootings, and it's starting to be too many coincidences. Too many coincidences. You know, if you're in a relationship, in a one-off, and you look in the back seat and under the seat you find a condom. Now, it could just be a coincidence. It could have been left by the brother. Anything. Then you find lipstick on the collar. By itself, individually, not that big of a deal. He could have hugged his aunt. He could have just hugged his aunt. But then you look under the bed and find panties that ain't yours. Before you know it, it's not a coincidence. Something's rotten in Denmark. Something is amiss. Something ain't right. Somebody's lying. And in these cases, what I've come to find out is that every case now, it's like the same model. It's like they shooting the same model out of some kind of vending machine. I don't know what's going on. Every single guy has a handgun, and every single guy has an AR-15. Now, I personally think that they want to get these guns out of people's hands at all costs. Because what is the chance of every time it's an AR-15 and a handgun? It's different type of guns. You have submachine guns, you have regular rifles, single shot rifles, you have AK-47. You can get a Kalashnikov, which is an AK. You never hear them shooting AKs. It's always the AR-15. The AR-15 is the center point of the gun that they want to get out of people's hands at all costs. And I told people before it's all said and done, you'll never get the answers you want to get out of this Salvador Ramos case. You'll never get all the answers you want to get out of the Buffalo case. You'll never get all these answers that you guys want. Before they do that, they will pivot off of that. And I said that in these videos that I made before. And I'm going to prove it to you. I'm going to go over just these 30-second little clips in 2 of my videos, and then I'm going to get to the Tulsa gunman video. But I just want to prove to you that over here, Negro dominance is in effect. Let's take a look. Check this out.
For more on this, Brad, this new video suggests that authorities were trying, and he was a 911 operator trying to get this information to officers about what was happening in the classroom. So why do you think there's this disconnect with BPS?
Let me see. That might not have been it. Check this out. There's so much blame to go around, and they're still not answering all the questions. And I told people before, like in the last video, before they give you the full answer, before you get everything you're looking for, your favorite celebrity will die, it'll be some catastrophe with war, Russia, the United States, it'll be a major natural disaster. Something else will happen to try to pivot off this. These guys are expert at pivoting off these stories. And see, I said that in the video before. That was June 1st. I released that. I actually made that on May 31st, but I ended up uploading the video in the morning on June 1st, and the shooting happened later on in the evening. But let me go out, and I'm going to go to this. I made this video. Well, let me see exactly when I made this video. Look, I made this video May 27th. Said the same exact thing, you guys. I'm just asking a question. We know that the CIA was involved in MK Ultra mind control. That's just a question. My last video I made, there it is right there. Salvador Ramos, mass shooter. You see him. And you see the shooter in Denver, Colorado at the movie theater. You see the guy from Sandy Hook. You see the new guy from Buffalo. They all kind of look similar, little mop top, glazed eye. Their eyes look glazed over. Who knows? There's a lot of questions that's not being answered. And like I said, before you get the goddamn answers, something major will happen in this country before you can get to the answer. There'll be something between Russia and America. There'll be something, like I said, there'll be one of your favorite celebrities will die, it'll be something that can change the subject. Just like with the Buffalo shooting. Nobody really talk about the Buffalo shooting. They ain't talking about this shooting. And I just wanted to go over those 2 little clips because that's exactly what they do. They send these people out. This is an assumption on my part, but it's becoming plainly obvious. I think even the most layman person, the person who's the least skeptical, can see that, damn, something don't seem right. It's like this shit is happening too much, too frequently, to where it seems orchestrated. Even a normal person who's not into conspiracy theories or not, even they starting to see like, wait a minute. Let's go over this clip though, the Tulsa police gunman.
Is fluid and can still change, but it is the most accurate information that we have at this point. Before I do that, let me go ahead and provide the names of the victims, and I will allow St. Francis to elaborate more on those victims. We have Dr. Preston Phillips, Dr. Stephanie Hoosen, Amanda Green, William Love, and our suspect, Michael Lewis.
And I want to say, RIP to those people and prayers to their families. But it's interesting that they haven't shown a picture of Michael Lewis. Maybe you guys have seen it. I haven't seen it yet. I've been looking for it. I can't find it. But it's interesting because usually they pretty much run them pictures out there pretty quickly. So it's interesting that you can't run these pictures. They'll run the pictures out there. And I'm going to tell you another thing. I said this in my other videos. These people shut down these people's social media websites where you can't see who they've been in communication with, which is always extremely, extremely important. And I understand from a police standpoint, you don't want to have all the information out there, but there does come a point to where people deserve to know exactly what's going on. What if, I just thought about, what if you put it all together and come to realize that a lot of these people is in communication with maybe the same group or same people? You never know. You never know.
On May 19th, Michael Lewis went into the hospital for a back surgery. The performing physician was Dr. Preston Phillips. Mr. Lewis was released on 5/24, May the 24th. After release, Lewis called several times over several days, complaining of pain and wanted additional treatment. On May 31st, Dr. Phillips saw Mr. Lewis again for additional treatment. Yesterday, June the 1st, Lewis called Dr. Phillips' office again, complaining of back pain and wanting additional assistance. Now we know through the help of our ATF and their gun tracing that at 2 p.m. on June the 1st, Mr. Lewis purchased a semi-automatic rifle from a local gun store. That semi-automatic rifle was an AR-15 style rifle. We know that Mr. Lewis purchased...
And let me say this, I do agree that when you go to purchase a gun, you shouldn't be able to walk out with it immediately. There should be a time period, maybe a waiting time period. Because what if you buying a gun because you're upset and angry, or you want to take something out on somebody? It will give you time to at least think it over. And I ain't saying that that's always going to be the answer, that would always work. But I'm saying sometime when people have a chance to cool down, maybe that will give, people a chance to live. Because if you're giving a person a gun immediately who's disgruntled, I mean, this is the story they're selling. That's disgruntled. I don't know about that. In California, I don't like the California gun laws, but I do like one thing that it does take you, over a week or so, week or two to get your gun. So, which who cares? If you have to wait 2 weeks to get your gun, no big deal. Which I don't mind that law. But the problem with these people, once they get one law passed, they want to pass another one and another one and another one, and it starts to go too far. And the ultimate goal is to get these assault rifles out of people's hands. So before these white men give up their guns, it'll be all our goddamn mutiny.
A semi-automatic handgun, a .40 caliber Smith & Wesson pistol on May the 29th from a local pawn shop. I now want to go into the shooting timeline. At 4:52 p.m. on June the 1st, a third party who was on a video chat off location with an on-location doctor called 911, saying the doctor told her to call 911, saying there has been a shooting. At 4:53 p.m., we received a 911 call about a shooter in a building. We then continued to receive multiple calls that were more specific on a shooter being on the second floor of the Natalie building on the campus of St. Francis Hospital. At 4:55 p.m., a person called and clarified the Natalie building as the scene of the shooting. The first Tulsa police officers arrived 1 minute later at 4:56 p.m.
I know that's got to be difficult, buddy.
I want to give some context on the
to be dealing with an active shooter in a hospital, because there's so many rooms and corridors and levels.
Rooms, hallways, and so forth. It is an exceedingly complex environment.
Yeah, that's just what I just said.
The situation for an officer to deal with is pretty complex.
Yeah.
Officers entered the building on the first floor and made their way to the second floor based on the information they received. While on the second floor of the vast building, officers began yelling, "Tulsa police, this is something that we train to do." As officers were calling...
And you know what I just came across my mind? I want to say this before I get this. I think what happened in that shooting in Texas at the school with the kids, I think that's going to get some other officers killed eventually, because I do believe the officers should have went into the school because it was children. But every case of a shooter, you can't just run gung-ho into the building. That's so dangerous. You do have to have it does have to be some kind of tactics. It can't just be, oh, we going in there. And I think that's eventually it's going to have some officers that run in there gung-ho, and it's going to get some officers killed. And then they'll pull back and say, hey, man, we just can't run in there like that. Because these people just ran in there. I'm pretty sure once they got on the floor, though, it became a little bit more tactical. But regardless of what's happening, you can't wait no full hour. You can't wait no full hour, and you can't just run in there without a plan. So it's a balance.
Out Tulsa police, and advancing towards a suspect location, they heard a gunshot. We believe that was the final gunshot, with the suspect taking his own life. The gunshot was at 4:58 p.m.
Unlike that coward up in Buffalo who was scared to take his own life. That was a real coward.
Approximately 39 seconds after the first officers entered the building. As officers started clearing the building, they came across a victim that was down in the exam room. Officers requested IMSA to the floor and continued searching the suspect for the suspect. This victim later died at the hospital. We found the suspect, and we rescued a female who was hiding under a desk at the suspect's. She was there when the suspect took his life. She did not appear to be injured.
I know that was scary.
Officers rescued that victim who was hiding under a desk.
Could you imagine hiding under a desk with a man who just done killed four people and who's desperate? Could you imagine hiding right next to him? That's like a scary movie. Well, the killer is like right next to you.
Down in an open area near a nurse's station. At this point, officers began directing first responders, IMSA, and fire to those victims to render first aid. Again, this is something that we work cooperatively with, and we can go into what we call a hot environment with medical personnel and fire personnel and start rendering aid. In that same room, there was the victim was at. Officers also rescued an elderly female that was in the room. As officers continued to clear the building, they located Dr. Phillips deceased in an exam room. As officers continued to clear the building, they removed multiple witnesses and victims and escorted them from the building. As more officers arrived on scene, we began a methodical search of each floor of the 5-story structure, looking for witnesses and or victims. Thus far, we have recovered 30 .223 casings from the crime scene. We have also recovered 7 .40
And 223 cases, that's for AR-15s.
caliber casings from the crime scene. We have also found a letter on the suspect which made it clear that he came in with the intent to kill Dr. Phillips and anyone who got in his way.
Highly convenient. He had the letter. He's dead. We can never ask him any questions. And we just don't know.
For the ongoing pain following the surgery.
And that's interesting that they said he went in there and killed the doctors because of the surgery. And I just wonder, was there any malpractice? Because if there was malpractice in the hospital, you would want to know, right? Because obviously it became a life or death thing. So, I'm not blaming the doctors and saying he deserved to die. I mean, malpractice happens all the time, but I'm not saying it was malpractice, but you never know. You have to do a full investigation and look into that, because malpractice, I got a buddy who works at the hospital, and he's an x-ray tech, and he tell me it'd be all type of malpractice at some of these hospitals. So it's interesting that what was the exchange between the two and what was being said to him. Because I've came across doctors who can be some assholes, Jack. Now, I came across doctors who are extremely nice, polite, know how to talk to you, and some is straightforward, and they're callous, and they're cold, and they can turn people off, and it turned him deadly. But me personally, I think it's way more to this shooting, and if it's not, this is just another way for these people to pivot off of this, to turn off of that Texas shooting, to say, hey, look at these cops. They went right into the building. They were brave. They were strong. They wasn't scared, and they went and they saved lives. But like I said, once again, by the time the cops get to the crime scene, most of the carnage had been already done. Most of the damage was done. Those people who died, the cops didn't save them. You can say they prevented more, but if you dead, do you give a damn? Do they families give a damn that the cops went in there late? If that's your family member, would you care? Man, this country is circling the drain, y'all. It really is. It's going downhill fast. Just have yourself prepared, man. They keep telling you about not having these guns. You better have a gun. If you're an honest person and a person who just wants to take care of his family, wants to work and do the right thing, man, you most definitely need a gun. You see this shit that's happening? This is obscene and absurd. But I want you guys to hit that like, hit that subscribe. I just took your ass on another mass shooting ride. Peace.